congratulations for your rank 134, and it is your first mains in the last attempt.
Yes,
It is
sir.
ironical also, and it is an achievement also,
Yes, sir.
because writing the first mains and scoring this rank is always a great feat. You achieved it, and
Yes.
you scored well in psychology, that is 272,
Yes.
125 in paper 4, and 120 in essay. So these
Yes.
are phenomenal scores actually.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
So coming to my first question, like, you were not able to qualify the first stage of this exam, and now you cracked the exam fully. So what three mistakes in prelims you did again and again, which you want to share with the future aspirants so that they can learn from it and avoid these three mistakes?
So I think so. The first mistake was that I over relied on test series rather than focusing more on previous year questions. The second
Okay.
mistake was that I over relied on the coaching institutes and their foundation course. I did not give adequate time to develop my own strategy. I blindly followed them. And the third mistake would be, which I did, was that I had multiple sources for a particular subject, and that led to lack of revision. So I could not even correctly mark the answer which I had already read in the examination situation because my sources were so vast.
Okay. Fine. I pen it down, like, don't rely on any coaching material. No foundation course is foolproof, and multiple sources will take you towards failure.
Yes, sir. And so
Okay.
another thing which I think really helped me was to listen to many topper talks to see that how they have formulated their own strategy. And many toppers have also written blogs on it. For example, Anudeep Durushetty sir, his blog really helped me. The way he has in detail analyzed his mistakes and how to score good marks in mains as well as prelims. And I think so many toppers also have a kind of notes available on the Telegram channels or on the blogs. I think so they are more useful because they also write in a manner which is acceptable to the UPSC also, UPSC standard. कोचिंग वाले यूजली कॉपी पेस्ट करके सारे नोट्स बनाते हैं बट टॉपर्स के नोट्स आर मोर फिल्टर्ड एंड आई थिंक सो आई रिलाइड मोर ऑन दोस नोट्स दिस टाइम rather than any coaching institute के notes.
Yeah, I just add because they lived that struggle, so they know the tidbits and the organic organic feeling you get from those notes. You realize that, yeah, this is the practical problems, this is the possible solution,
Yes, sir.
instead the copy paste material of any coaching wala.
Absolutely, sir.
Okay, now coming forward, the most important aspect in your journey is, I think, motivation.
Yes, sir.
So what drives you through all these struggling years? Because I can understand it is very, you can say, frustrating. Like, every time you put your all out efforts and still no gain.
Yes, sir. I think so. The motivation was both internal and external. External, obviously, my parents were very supportive. They tried to rectify my mistakes also. And internal motivation was there that I knew that I'm worth it, that I can crack this examination. And I think so. Repeated failure also teaches you that you need to now really work on your mistakes so that you can emerge as a better person and you can emerge as an inspiration also to others, that it's okay, you can fail, but at the same time, in the future, you can work on your mistakes and achieve a certain amount of success also.
Okay, now coming to our main aspect of the interview, that is psychology. So one simple question, like, any fresher comes and he is standing on the crossroads, and the crossroads takes you, why psychology and why not psychology? So please explain, because you have guilt-edged words now, so people will listen to you as a topper now.
Yes. So I might have a little bit of biasness towards psychology because I have an optional also in I have a background also in psychology. I've done my bachelor's as well as master's in psychology.
Okay.
So I might be a biased person also to suggest psychology because I have a strong background in it. But for a fresher who does not have any background in psychology, I would say that first of all, you need to see whether you have an interest or not in this subject. And how will you come to know about that? You need to pick up the basic NCRTs of class 11th and 12th and have a brush through it. That are you able to understand it? Is it interesting to you? Second, I would tell to that person is that please see the previous year questions at least 1 or 2 years in when you are deciding whether to choose this optional or not, to see that these are the kind of questions will come. Do you think you will be able to handle it, or are they very vague for you? The third thing I would say is that you need to realize that if you will choose psychology, there will be very little overlap with your other GS subjects. So are you willing to take this optional, which has very less overlap with the GS subjects? That's a risk you would have to take. Fourth will be that it's very difficult to find good videos on psychology. For example, sir, all the coaching institutes of psychology, they do not cover the subject in depth or according to the UPSC standards. So although you will find notes and previous year questions analysis, like I did find in your platform, sir, but to find a holistic coverage of all the topics will be difficult. So you would have to rely on self-study. So I think so, sir, these are the factors which any aspirant, especially an aspirant which does not have a background in psychology, should consider. And sir, like speaking from my own experience, I was expecting 290 above marks in psychology, but I scored around 272. So it's difficult, I feel, from my personal experience to cross that threshold in psychology, which might be achieved by some other optional subject.
Yeah, this year the highest in psychology is 293. As per my understanding, Anjana, if you are writing second mains or third mains, you should be in that area, because see, the practice effect is there.
Yes, sir. Absolutely, sir.
Now, one more general question with psychology. What is the beauty of psychology as an optional? How it helps you overall, rather than studying it, like stress management, answer writing? Because see, law of pregnancy is also applicable on answer writing.
Yes, sir. So I think so psychology for me was a very relaxing subject. For example, if I was tired of studying GS or learning historical facts, I would always go back to psychology, because A, I understood it very well. B, it's not very factually heavy. It's more conceptually heavy rather than factually heavy psychology. And C, I think so learning psychology also helped me realize a lot about myself. Okay, maybe my childhood was shaped in that manner, or the kind of stress that I'm facing, and how can I implement stress reduction methods in my own life, or how can I live in the moment. So I think so psychology overall was a very relaxing experience for me compared to the very stressful GS subjects which I had to face.
And this is a very good practice, because whenever you read the questions of UPSC, you will always found the word real life examples.
Yes, sir.
So when you think in this manner, you are creating those real life examples. That's why you will get good examples when you're writing in the real time scenarios.
Yes.
So I also request the aspirants to follow this kind of thinking, because by doing it, you are creating novel examples and that are surely appreciated in the examination.
Yes, sir, absolutely, sir.
Now, moving to the strategy now. What is the strategy for psychology you want to suggest? What you have followed, and especially breaking into phases, like during the lull period of December, January, what you are doing for optional, because that is the main time for optional, and what study should be followed after prelims.
Sir, ideally, the optional should be completed before prelims. It should be completed by December. So for the aspirants who are giving 2025 attempt, they should try to finish their optional by this year, December. And optional will include both paper 1 and paper 2. For that, they should start first of all by reading the toppers blogs. I think so that is a very good example. For example, Ravi Jain sir, Anuraj Jain sir, and even the video strategy by Mansavi Sharma sir. They have in detail given this strategy, which I think so is very clear and crisp to the point. And I think so my strategy will also be very similar to that only. So, sir, starting May, all the aspirants should definitely start with NCRTs, class 11th and 12th. Irrespective of whether you have a background or not in psychology, the NCRT should be your guiding light, and you should take examples and research examples, daily examples from the NCERT in your answer writing. You should incorporate that.
Yes. Yeah, I always add that NCRTs are the Bible for examples, at least. Very real, very down to earth, and very diverse examples you will find there.
Yes, sir. And they're written in very less words also. So you can directly copy paste the wordings also.
And
Which are
and and if you read between the lines, the boxes in NCRTs are the source of questions for UPSC.
yes, sir. The questions are coming from the boxes. That is true, sir. The second would be, sir, to have a printout of the syllabus in front of you so that you are aware that what is the demand of the examination. And the second thing would be to have all the previous year questions. If I'm not wrong, many coaching institutions have compiled their PYQs. And I think so. I had a PDF of one of the coaching institutes which had compiled all the PYQ in chapter-wise format. So that should be referred along with the uh, syllabus of the examination. And
Okay.
I started with paper one of this of psychology. I completed paper one and then I moved to paper two. So for paper one, I referred to Passer and Smith and I made my own notes. So I'll try to share all of them on my Telegram channel. I made my own notes from that book and from the toppers' notes. Few of them had shared their own notes, so I had incorporated that. Few of my notes are in a handwritten form and few of the notes are in a typed format. So, sir, I'll share those notes. I just have to upload them. I'll upload them so that the aspirants can have a better view about
I
what
will
all.
also share, upon sharing, I will also share it on my Telegram channel for the benefit of the aspirants.
Yes, sir. And sir, you also had solved all the PYQs. So
Yes.
anything I was not able to find in the book or in any standard textbook, I would refer to your PYQ and then add from that portion into my own notes. So your PYQs also really helped me in consolidating my notes and getting extra examples because in your PYQs you had written a lot of examples and a lot of case studies. So
Yeah. Thank you for that.
I directly copied it, sir. I don't know how much was I able to recall in the examinations because I think
Yeah.
so it was overburdened also. कि इतनी सारी
I
cases होगी.
I always request everybody, please overlearn them, over practice them, because only then you will able to produce that in the final exam.
True, sir. Because वो लगता है कि हाँ हो जाएगी, it's so easy, but examination में it's difficult to recall unless you have revised it multiple times.
Yeah, especially for paper two, I try to look beyond SMARC in my. If you have seen that my examples and my case studies, even theories are beyond the cliche book.
Yes, sir. So for paper one, for example, historical antecedents, very easy. That can be covered through NCERT itself. For subjects like research methods, for that, sir, I had referred to multiple sources, but those were basically my college readings. And now I don't know the names of those readings, but I had compiled it into my notes. I'll share those notes of my research methods valid chapter. I have those notes
Yeah,
with also. I think so. They're around 10 pages, so around 20 sides. So I had compiled it from multiple sources. I think so. This was the only chapter which I had to refer many sources because it was not in Passer and Smith, and I could not find one source with them. And for random topics in paper one, maybe it's not being covered in Passer and Smith, people can also refer to Igyan Ghosh psychology.
Gyan Kosh, yeah, it's very good.
Yes, sir. They also have topic wise notes. And I think so. So when aspirants are reading, they will read from NCERT. They'll read from a standard source. So it's always better to compile it in your own handwriting and write down the notes, or at least type it down. That also facilitates active recall. And once you've written it, you will have your own individual memory codes. You will have your own individual recall methods, which any topper notes cannot help you in that. You have to make your
True,
own
true,
notes.
true.
So I think so. Note making is very, very important. So I
Yeah,
had
and
notes for all, one and paper to both.
adding to your point, first, the beauty of Gyan Kosh. If you read the media psychology, you will find a Bachchan effect. So
Mhm.
when Amitabh Bachchan used to do the polio campaign, Do Boon Zindagi Ki, so it became
Mhm.
a phenomena, and it is termed by Bachchan effect by Indian psychologists only. So
Mhm.
if you add these kind of examples, they will definitely going to fetch you great marks.
Absolutely, sir.
And this your own notes are, you can say, the best armor against any notes in this examination.
Yes,
For example, like I have my notes for each and every topic for psychology,
yes,
and the first condition of the notes are that they are as crisp as possible. It is said that at least you are able to revise your notes 5 times in those 5 days if you want to produce answers like toppers.
yes, sir. So I think so that was one of the mistake I committed. My notes were not as crisp. So my notes were a little bit bulky. So for paper one, the aspirants, when you're keeping the information in your hand, the PDF, what the syllabus of the UPSC demands, so accordingly, you can study from your base book. For example, Passer and Smith. If you're talking about the chapter personality, Passer and Smith will have a lot of additional information also, which might not be relevant for UPSC. So you have to strictly restrict yourself to the subheadings which the UPSC examination is demanding. And direct questions come from the subheadings of the syllabus. You cannot ignore any subheading. And if there's any subheading you do not find in the book, in your standard book, either Google it or you can also use Chat GTP. I did use Chat GTP, but at times it did also give me wrong information. So you have to be very careful that it might be hallucinating and giving you information which is not correct. So you have to use a bit of your mind over there also.
For that, there are 3, 4 different GPT models you need to use in psychology further. So still, I request to stick to the core books.
Yes.
They are more helpful.
No,
And
absolutely. I'm saying core books you have to stick to, but for some topics which might not be given in the core book, or for if you want to have a better framing of the answer, you can use Chat GTP. For example, if a paragraph is too long and you're not able to write it in your own words, so you can write the entire paragraph in Chat GTP and then write that please condense it in 5 lines. So Chat GTP will do that for you, and then you can directly write those 5 lines in your notes.
yeah, it facilitate your comprehension actually.
Yes, sir. And sir, for also maybe for example, if I wanted more pointers in an answer, I would directly copy paste the previous question and then tell GTP that please write the answer in 20 points or in 10 points. And then it would give into broad divisions and subpoints. And this is
Okay,
obviously apart from the basic book. We cannot ignore the basic book and the basic NCRT. And I refer to Passer and Smith, but you can also refer to other books, sir. For example, some people use Barron also. That is also all right. There's no hard and fast rule regarding the basic book.
personally, I found Passer and Smith is nowadays a very good book, very easy to understand, lucid book with
Yes, sir.
good subheadings, and UPSC, especially with respect to cognitive psychology, UPSC is referring it also.
Yes, sir.
Now, moving forward to answer writing.
Yes, sir. So in
So,
paper two, should I tell paper two right now only?
yeah, please continue. No issues.
In paper two, that standard book of Sensor IRS, I referred to it. And then I refer to your PYQ, sir. So I added the extra information from your PYQs, the extra examples and information. So I only restricted myself to these two sources. And for social psychology, I actually made a lot of notes on my own, and they are a bit bulky. They're not. So I had combined chapter 6, chapter 8, and 9. If I'm not wrong, these three
I,
is written in social
I
psychology.
just want to add a word of caution to every future aspirant. Collecting content for social psychology is a slippery slope because it has a very huge content available from social psychology, Barron to number of good books are there. But again, you have to restrict yourself because the number of chapters are not that much, so you can invest your time so much into it. And also, that portion of paper two is very interesting, so we keep on reading. Same
Yeah.
thing happened with me. I read the whole Barron book and some other books also, and I found it out that more or less I'm wasting my time because that is not much of cost benefit analysis.
Yes, sir. Examples of my
Yeah,
psychology notes, which include chapter 6, 8, and 9, out of 46 pages. This is typed version. So I'll be sharing it, and I think so the aspirants can cut, copy, paste it, whatever
yeah.
suitable they think is for them. But as you rightly said, it's very vast and it's very difficult for us to restrict ourselves. But we should try to restrict ourselves to the specific pointers which the UPSC is demanding. Because there's no
Instead, I instead I request aspirant to invest your time on work psychology, because every year they're asked around 45 marks, and that is not very big. Some one or two other books other than some Smarak Swain, if read properly and within time frame, they will fetch you more marks.
Yes, sir.
Sorry. And moving further, Anjana, regarding your answer writing approach, that is very important.
Yes, sir. So for answer writing, you also had shared a particular topper's answer copy. I'm not able to recall the name of that topper. So
Yeah,
I have,
Srinivas Sadi and Damini, both
yes,
were
sir.
my 2021
Yes, sir.
2022 toppers.
So I had referred to both of those copies, and I had referred to Mansavi Sharma sir's topper copies and Anurag Jain's and Ravi Jain's copies. So I got a basic idea that what is the format and what they're writing. So I tried to copy their answer writing method. I don't think so I was 100% successful in it, because every aspirant will have their own answer writing style. But I tried to have an introduction for every answer. I tried to have maximum points in the body, and I tried to have a conclusion in the end. And I tried to use subheadings according to the demand of the questions. But I think so my answer writing could have been more systematic, I feel. My answers were not very I think so other toppers were more successful in writing their answers in a more systematic manner. Meera
My
thoda,
analysis for your answers are very content rich, but still some rejigging of presentation and structure. If then you will win 290s.
yes, sir. So because answer writing, I did not focus before prelims, because before prelims, I was under the impression that I have to clear this year's prelims. So that pressure was also there.
Yeah,
I could not devote much time to answer. I did
I,
write few answers before
I,
prelims.
I call it learned helplessness,
Yes, sir. Absolutely. It was
kind
not.
of. Sorry to say, but it happens. This is our mental game.
Agreed. Yes, absolutely true, sir. And I think so. If the aspirants can see all the topper copies and then accordingly frame what is suitable for them. For example, my introductions were also very basic. For example, I used to write definitions only in the introduction, depending upon the question. I think so that can also be changed, but I did not have the time to invest in my introductions. And
Yes,
you also had pointed it out that Anjana
for
used to have diverse introductions, but I did not have the time to diversify my introductions.
see, this is the biggest problem. Like another topper, Mr. Saurav Das, rank 466, he also complains that there was a time crunch. He used to write very well, but whatever suggestions I gave him, he says a time crunch is there. So please don't waste your time just after prelims. You have to start, because this year 15 days are already less.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and in answer writing, anything you want to share
So
so
in
that you
answer
can.
writing, I think so focus should only be on previous year questions. I don't think so any new test series will help so much, because previous year's questions cover all the topics as it is. So we are writing answers on all the topics, and topics do get repeated in the final analysis. And as it is, aspirants have a time crunch. So rather than focusing on new questions, it's better to fully understand and fully write the PYQs. And if
Yes,
they're
yes.
not able to write the PYQs, at least they should write pointers underneath the question, so that they know that if this type of question comes, I will write these points in my answers. So that is
As
very,
per Yes, as per my experience, around 70% of themes got repeated.
yes, sir,
Yeah.
absolutely.
This is the only reason my test series are based on only PYQs. I only let you write PYQs only and then evaluate on that basis. If you keep on
Yes,
writing that, I'm sure that you will get into services if you are able to write all paper PYQs of previous 7 to 8 years. No one can stop you.
yes, sir, absolutely, sir. I could not write of all the topics. I think so. I only wrote about 4 to 5 topics, if I'm not wrong. So I like you rightly said that if you write PYQ of all the topics, your selection in psychology is for sure.
For sure. For
The
everything.
diagrams, you can refer to Sven sir's books, because he has amazing diagrams which can be directly replicated in your
Yeah.
examination.
And don't worry, in my model answers, there are also a lot of diagrams also. I
Yes,
try to.
in the model answer also their diagram, but then again a caution. You have so many diagrams, you become confused in the examination hall that which diagram to use. So the
See,
aspirant should be clear
prob,
before only that which diagram.
problem is this that there's a deficit of trust. These are new notes, should I trust them or not? By the time you read it and realize that these are good notes, time is gone.
Yes, sir.
This is happening again and again. So I keep telling you, please trust these notes. I spent a lot of time. It took me around 1 year to complete all these answers. So
Yes, sir.
please, that's why I'm requesting everyone to trust them and follow them blindly. Just keep on writing and keep evaluating things. Things
Yes.
will go in better manner. Now coming forward, another very important question, Anjana, is the vastness of syllabus. Psychology is not very short, optional, also not very big, but
Mhm.
uh, its size can be attributed to of medium length in
Mhm.
terms of comparison with other optionals. So how you cover it, how you covered it, though you have a psychology background, but still you have to study as per the UPSC standards.
Yes, sir. So in this attempt, it took me around 3 months to complete my syllabus in whole. So I think so minimum 3 months will be required for an aspirant to complete the syllabus and to make the notes also. And then you have to practice answer writing, which will take another of your time. So I think so aspirants should see ki October, November, December this year, they should spend on their optional and maybe do a bit of GS side by side. But 3 months dedicatedly every day, you have to spend around 5 to 6 hours in psychology. From my personal experience, it took me this long.
And now after that, the psychology is very dynamic subject. If you follow some magazines, international magazines, daily basis there are new researches, especially post COVID. People are more concerned even in India regarding mental health. So how you keep updated yourself with, because ge- uh, general knowledge, sorry, this current affairs is not a very, you can say, buzzword in
Mhm.
psychology.
Yes,
We
sir.
have to go here and there regarding the current affairs of psychology, any new research is there, or any news regarding psychology.
Yes,
So
sir.
how you cope with this pressure?
Sir, I did join a few Telegram channels which were telling me about the current developments in psychology. But to be very honest, I could never implement those current findings in my own answers because, as it is, the syllabus is so vast and we are focusing on learning different researches. So I think so. I was lacking in that part that I could not follow and retain the current developments in psychology, and nor did I use it in my answer writing.
Okay, okay. So
But
see,
I think that can be an added advantage if the aspirants can write a few current developments in few of the questions. That will definitely fetch them more marks.
yeah, for example, let me start with an example. I always keep on saying whenever the question is social integration, then Aligarh law industry can be a very good example of jigsaw puzzle when
Mhm.
where the two different communities people work together in harmony and produce a final outcome. So
Mhm.
it not only gives you the economic benefit, but it also promotes social harmony.
Mhm.
So these kind of examples, when produced the final answer sheet, they will give
Ye-
you +1 per question, and
Yes,
that is
sir.
required. So I
Yeah.
keep posting these kind of case studies, these kind of researches on my Yogi channel. So
Mhm.
there are other channels also, they are doing also same. I'm
Yes.
also doing the same. So there's no need to go here and there for search of this current affairs. Just
Mhm.
follow one or two standard channels, and that will be sufficient, because this is the persistent query. People
Yes.
don't focus on the core books. They are witch hunting for current affairs and nothing is done.
Mhm. Yes, sir. And sir, I also feel if a aspirant learns a particular current affairs, he or she should be clear in their mind that in which topic can I actually write it down in the examination. नहीं तो फिर वो exam time में याद नहीं आएगा. So it's important to be clear beforehand only that if this question comes on social integration, I will write this example.
Yeah,
I,
soon. This is my sincere effort. This year, I will produce a magazine, topic-wise current affairs,
Mhm.
so that will help the students most.
Yes, I think so. That will be helpful for the aspirants.
And again, I will re-ask this question, though you answered it. But please, now this is the time for it. What is the importance of note making,
Mhm.
and how to add this dynamic part you just discussed in your notes? So
Mhm.
please tell regarding that.
So note making should be topic wise. So topic wise, we should have notes that at least I have at least 150 words per subheading. I could not restrict myself to such a short span. And as I already mentioned, my notes were a bit bulky. For example, social psychology, 46 pages. So it was a bit cumbersome also to revise it in the final moments. So I think so notes should be crisp. They should be written by you, or it can be typed also. It should be topic wise done, and it should incorporate the previous year question, the dimensions the previous year questions are asking. And if you're producing sir a magazine, I think so the aspirants can copy from the magazine that you'll be giving to them and add that to their own notes so that they can revise it all together.
Okay. Now, moving towards the last section of our conversation, psychology can have integration with essay and ethics at least.
Mhm.
So, how you did that, and what are the possible ways to intermix all these aspects of GS, the mains examination?
So in GS4, we have attitude and emotional intelligence. I think so. I incorporated psychology in only those two aspects. Rest, I could not integrate psychology. In essay also, sir, I was a bit skeptical of including psychology into it. I especially I was a bit skeptical of maybe naming researchers or putting theories because I thought
Okay,
that it might
that is
back.
fine. That is
So
the right decision. But
I
just I want to add, whenever you think about essays, you should think about the individual aspect, individual happiness.
yes.
Your all the problem and solution should trickle down to individuality, and that
Mhm,
is what psychology is.
mhm. Yes, sir. So, sir, to be very honest, in essay, I could not incorporate that part. My essays were very diverse. I can share my essay notes also. And I read a lot of toppers' essays to see that what are they writing. And I took direct pointers from them that this is a good
That is
example, this is a good
that is
introduction.
that is
So,
good reverse engineering, I say. In less
yes,
time, this is the best thing you should do. See, one thing I realized from your preparation that is very smart, Anjana, that you always relied on the previous toppers and PYQs. So
yes,
it brings the clarity of supply and demand also. The supply is of topper copies and demand is PYQ. You just
yes.
simply integrated both of them and you produce a good rank.
Yes, sir.
So so
So
please,
because I first-handedly suffered by just relying on cooking material because I did not find it sufficient. So this year I did
so
not want to make that mistake. For ethics, so like I previously mentioned, that psychology does not have a huge overlap with the GS and SS subjects. So it can only help in a minority basis. So that is one of
yeah,
the
true.
facts for psychology, I feel. But if a person is actually able to implement psychology in essay, I think so that will be wonderful. But I was not able to do that, sir.
Yeah, like I scored 136 in my last attempt, and thanks to psychology, I was able to get that decent score.
Yes, sir.
So, okay. Now moving further regarding the content crunch, especially paper two. Though one book is there, Smarak Swain's book is there, that is a good book.
Mhm.
But see, when everybody is producing the same quality of answers, they become commonplace and marks are awarded less.
Yes, sir.
So, how to deal with that? This is a like persistent question aspirants keep on asking because when whosoever wrote means they realize that only this book is not sufficient now. What to do?
So I relied on that book and your previous year question answers. So I think so for me that was sufficient. Your previous year questions notes and sir's books, and then I compiled it into my own notes, and I'll be sharing it so that aspirants can have a better view. And I also use Chat GTP over here also.
See, on the lighter side, this is called as the framing effect. I want to promote my PYQ model answers, so I frame this question in that manner.
Yes.
Okay,
And I
no,
don't use
but
any other book specific for paper two. For work psychology also, sir, I think so. I had referred to some other toppers' notes. I'm not able to find them on my computer. I'll try finding it again.
uh, I have one or two books for that that will help out if now free time you want to read. I will send it to you. I have a big library for
Okay.
psychology. Okay, now moving forward, then regarding this thing, very important, being a fresher. you're entering with psychology. So what should be the approach?
So the approach should be to, first of all, read the NCRTs thoroughly and to see a bit of topper videos and to see that how they've approached the subject, because right now you are very new. You can go in the wrong direction if you're not properly guided. And to consider previous year questions as your sole guide. If they can enroll in a previous year question test series, if they can afford it, they should do it. For example, sir, you are also offering a previous year question test series, but I understand that not everyone is able to afford the test series. So they can practice previous year questions on their own also and evaluate it by themselves by comparing it to the topper answer copies, because a lot of answer copies are available. And I think so, sir, every student is capable of self monitoring their answers after writing it down. It's not rocket science. If a
Yes.
person can sit down and see what I've done wrong, what all I can add, that will be wonderful. And sir, to restrict your sources. For a fresher also, that is very important. And for a fresher, if you are not having a background in psychology, you can see YouTube videos regarding few topics which you are not comfortable any coaching, because coaching will be very cumbersome. The best option is to see YouTube videos regarding the topics which you are not comfortable in. For example, research methods. There are ample of topics, YouTube channels which discuss all the aspects of research methods.
Now, again, though you answered it, but role of coaching, is it needed or not for psychology especially? Because psychology, you were told if you don't have background, you might face some difficulties initially.
Mhm.
So what is the role of coaching? It should be opted for or avoided?
Sir, the coaching is very expensive, I feel. It's not
Yes.
worth the money which you will be investing in it. And plus, individual attention will not be given to you. You will be given notes. So I think so coaching in that aspect, it is not useful. What is more important is that you strategically and smartly see that what are your weaknesses, and you find YouTube videos for that, and you cover those topics for free online, because everything is now as it is available online.
True.
And at the max, you can take a test series. Either they can take your test series or they can take any other coaching institute's test series which they're comfortable with. But sir, I have had a bad experience with coaching, so that's why I don't prescribe coaching. Be it
Okay.
foundation.
You're anti-coaching topper this year.
Yes, sir. So I wasted so much of money, time, and effort in coaching, and I've seen the results that it did not help me in that direction. It misguided me on the other hand.
True, true. To extent you are saying whatever you are saying, there's a grain of truth is there. I'm not denying the fact because it happened in the corridors of ORN. People are there to loot. Yes, it is happening.
Yes, sir. And I think so, sir, the holy grain should be your topper copies. You will realize the kind of content which is required, and then you will yourself realize that the coaching is not telling me this kind of content. It's telling me the content which will
Yeah,
not fetch the marks.
including yours. Like I have from previous 10 years, around 20, 10 to 12 toppers copies. I always share it with all the aspirants
Mhm.
so that you can see your writing style and their writing style, and please compare it.
Yes, sir.
So that you should come to know, yeah, I write according to this topper, so I
Mhm.
should follow this style.
Mhm.
Because
Yes.
presentation, structuring, and with the time pressure, it is very difficult. So with the free time, you should think, you should write openly and then compare with the toppers copies. Then you will realize, yes, this is doable, and these are the areas I need to improve upon.
Yes, sir. So, sir, I had printed out all the topper copies. So, I had all the topper copies as a hard copy, and I used to highlight it within the copy itself that this is a good point. I can incorporate this aspect also. And I won't say that it is easy to do. It will take some time for us
Yeah,
also, for aspirants also to be comfortable with someone else's handwriting, someone else's writing style. But I can assure all the aspirants that it will really pay off if you once get the hang of the topper's mindset, that in watch what way are they approaching the question and answer.
question from my side, and definitely this is for my marketing only. Please
Yes.
tell that how I helped you out, and 2 or 3 points you want to add that you gained from my feedbacks.
So I think so. First of all, your previous year questions answers were very detailed, so I could cherry pick whatever I liked. So there was the content was very rich, so I could according to my own needs, see that this is a good example, this I can code, this is a good case study. So I directly picked from your notes. Second, there were many topics which were not available in the standard books, but they were asked in the previous year questions. So you had also written answers for them. So I directly copied those answers in point format so that I could write it in the examination. And so I think so I asked a couple of notes also from you of topics which I was not able to find. So you provided me those topics and notes. I think so. You also provided me a book regarding sensation, attention, and perception. I referred to that also.
Yeah,
For
Richard Gloss.
Yes, sir. I refer to that also for my note making. And when I was writing answers, the feedback which you gave, honestly, I was not able to implement it fully in the examination situation. But
Again, the time pressure.
yes, but it propelled me to go in the right direction and propelled me to answer right. So I think so overall that was very helpful. And previous year questions at all the aspirants have to do it. And if you have a mentor which can give you answers like you did, that is excellent in it
That's
itself.
why I don't make any questions by my own. I say write only those questions given by UPSC. There is
Yes,
no need to go for any copies or sorry any questions given by any coaching because they can't make questions like UPSC did.
yeah. So because even for myself, I did not write any other question. I only wrote previous year questions. For GS, I wrote other questions, but for psychology, it was strictly previous year questions.
Even for I say GS, if you write previous 10 years, that is good enough.
I wrote previous year questions, but GS में थोड़ा सा current affairs does play a role for topics like
Yeah,
IR,
I agree.
international relations. तो उसमें थोड़ा बहुत we should do the current also.
Content
But
stays the same.
yes, sir. Content says this.
Content stays the same.
Yes,
I
sir.
know that. So, any last goodbye words from you, Anjana, to the future aspirants?
Sir, I will be sharing all my notes on my Telegram channel, and I'll now try to I'll try to talk to the aspirants on a Zoom call, and I'll try to take their doubts also,
Yes,
and so that I can better.
soon we will conduct that session also.
Yes, sir. So that it will be a demand supply sort of chain.
Yeah,
They can tell me what they want to listen.
Definitely. Okay. Thank you so much for this enriching experience, Anjana.
Thank you, sir.
My
Thank you,
best wishes for your foundation and upcoming things you take up as a bureaucrat. This
Yes,
time
sir.
use psychology principles, they will help you a lot.